Peace and blessings, family. It is me, Coach 67 Sports TV. Shout out to the awesome and amazing LDBC, Lions Den Broadcasting Community. Shout out to the Louisiana All-American Sports Network. And shout out to the greatest university in the world, the Southern University, home of the mighty Jaguars. In this particular live stream, the title for this particular live stream is Can Southern University Return to Dominance in Football and in All Sports? Elevate the standard. So for this particular live stream, I'm going to address a few topics. First and foremost, I'm going to talk about the current state of Southern University football and just the sports program in general. Next, I'm going to talk about key factors to regaining dominance in the sports programs. Next, I'm going to talk about recruitment, facilities, and leadership in athletics. And lastly, I'm going to talk about the role of the fans in the community in driving success. For those individuals that was checking in for the wire analysis earlier this morning, me and a couple of the brothers, we all had our respective issues. Me personally, I had a death in the family. So, of course, I wanted to take care of the live stream, but, I had a death in the family and the other two brothers had stuff going on. So we pushed it back to next Saturday. But, back to Southern University, before I actually get into the live stream itself, I just want show my gratitude and appreciation for everybody that's been watching the videos, liking the videos, sharing the videos, and commenting in the comment section. I appreciate all the new subscribers that's subscribed to the channel, all the individuals that's been rocking with me since day one. Individuals like Relaxing Calm Rain, Motivation to Be a Millionaire, Willie Bolden, Edwin Moore, Coach Kevin Walker, Blackwater Bayou, Teldrin Leathers, Desmond Allen, Adrian Crook, just everybody that's actively supporting the channel, everybody that's active in the comment section, and just everybody, supporting the channel, because I'm going to keep it a buck. There were a few times I actually wanted to just kind of give up on the channel. However, the last couple football seasons, I would always run into at least two people at every home game, every Southern University home game I went to the last 2 seasons. I'll be like, man, Coach, what's up? I love your content. I love your channel. Keep up the good work. We're going to support you and whatever the case may be. And truthfully speaking, really probably leading up to the first game I went to last season, not this past season, but the previous season. I mean, probably leading up to that point, I probably was getting ready to shut it down and call it quits on YouTube. But, that kind of gave me motivation to keep me going and keep me driving and keep me pushing forward. And as a result, the channel is starting to grow and it's continuing to grow. And, hopefully we get to where we need to be. So, let's get into our title and our subject for this particular live stream. Can Southern University return to dominance in football and in all sports and elevate the standard? First and foremost, the current state of Southern University football. As we all know, Southern University lost to Jackson State in the SWAC championship game. And, of course, in one of my recent videos, I talked about had Jalen Woods actually started in that game, would that have made a difference? Honestly, I think Zay starting it probably helped him from the standpoint of Jalen Woods is more of a pocket passer. And I think with him, the offense is a little bit more predictable, whereas I think Zay was a bit of a wild card. And I think it kind of had Jackson State off balance in the first half of the game. In addition to that, the fact that Mark Frederick deviated from his normal play calling. he spread Jackson State's defense out a little bit more, and Zay ran the ball some. He had some success passing the ball, but I think had Jalen Wood started, I think the offense would have been a little bit more predictable. So I think once Southern didn't capitalize on the 7-point lead they had in the second quarter, and Jacoby Morgan got hurt as McDonald came in the game, he gave Jackson State's offense a shot in the arm. I think that just kind of propelled them to that score. It tied the game up going into halftime. Jackson State scored to start the second half. Southern turned the ball over on their first possession in the second half, and that was kind of all she wrote, to be truthful. But I think this past season, I think Coach Graves and his staff, they did an excellent job. And this past season, in my opinion, is a building block season leading in the next season. So I think they did a good job from a recruiting standpoint. Based on what they have to work with, I think he's taking the right approach and the right strategy from the standpoint of, yeah, he might not be getting 4- and 5-star players, but he's getting a couple 3-star players here and there. But more than anything, he's bringing in a lot of community college and junior college players. And the thing about it, if he could keep these players in his system for the next 4 years, I think the football program is going to continue to grow. But I think that's going to be a major issue from the standpoint of if a player is a JC player and they have 4 years of eligibility left and they come to your school in the next year or two, they shine and they do exceptionally well, then I'm almost certain that young man is going to be tempted to hop into the transfer portal to see how much NIL money they could get. And, we saw it with Jordan Lewis. Of course, in that particular instance, you had a coaching change. We saw it with Jordan Lewis. We saw it with Kelby Gibbons. So, we saw it with Trey Lance. We've seen it with multiple players at Southern. So it's going to be interesting to see if these players that they bring in, all these JC and community college players that already have playing experience and that's going to have 4 years of eligibility in the program, let's see if Southern is going to be able to keep those players all 4 years. But more than anything, just to be honest and just to be truthful, I feel like this past season was a good building block season. I think thus far, even though the recruiting class, on a scale of 1 to 10, it isn't a 10, I think it's a good, solid recruiting class. And I think it's a good building block to build on moving forward. So I think this upcoming season, well, first, the 2025 Blue versus Gold spring game going to tell me a lot of what I need to know from what direction the program is going in from a standpoint of how can they capitalize on the momentum that they generated this past season. Me personally, I think it's positive, and I think they're moving in the right direction from that standpoint. And not only that, but to me, it seems like all of Southern University's sports programs are trending in the right direction. So, truthfully speaking, I think Southern they're starting to turn the corner. It's going to be hard for them to get to exactly where they used to be. But, just looking at what Jackson State did in football, I think football is the money-generating sport. Most schools, of course, you have some exceptions, like maybe if you are, Kansas, North Carolina at a certain point. I'm talking about like these traditional basketball powerhouses that really and truly didn't do much in the sport of football. But more than anything, for most schools, for most teams, football is the money-making sport, is the revenue-generating sport, is the sport that's going to pretty much propel the rest of the sports at your school. So I think Southern University, first and foremost, has to start with football, and then I think there's going to be a domino effect. But like I said already, I think the other sports are starting to, trend in the right direction. And major shout out to the Autism Boy Cottage 81. Salute to you. Salute to your channel, growth and the success of your channel. Major shout out to Autism Boy Cottage 81. Like I said, I've been checking you out. You know, congratulations on the success of your channel and the growth of your channel. I appreciate you coming through and stopping by. The next point I want to bring up is, you know, some of the key factors for Southern regaining dominance in the sports program. A lot of individuals feel like there needs to be an administration change for Southern University to get to where they need to go. Me personally, I mean, I'm gonna call a spade a spade. Roman Banks, I think he was a very good basketball coach. I don't think he was great. I mean, I don't think he was as good as Ben Jobe, but I think he definitely was a good basketball coach. But I'm gonna just keep it a buck. I'm gonna just be transparent and truthful and honest. I think he left a lot to be desired. He leaves a lot to be desired as an athletic director. And I'm just gonna call a spade a spade. So I think, you know, in terms of the key factors for Southern regaining dominance in the sports program, of course, those key factors are recruitment, facilities, and leadership. And I'm gonna start with the leadership component. I think Southern could get to where they need to be with Roman Banks as the athletic director. But truthfully speaking, like, things need to start trending in the right direction, not just for football but for all the sports, for him to get over the finish line. And the thing about it is, I'm not gonna lie, it seems like, I don't know what his contract situation is, but based on some of the missteps that the sports program has had under his leadership, and the fact that they never terminated him, they never fired him, whatever the case may be, it kind of shows that he's kind of there to stay. So, I mean, it's not like you're going to get rid of him. I think something would be for them to get rid of him, something catastrophic would have to happen in the athletic program. You would have to have some type of institutional misconduct. You know, one of your programs would have to just like run wild out of control, like maybe like the University of Florida had their issues years ago. So, truthfully speaking, I think, unless it's something major and catastrophic where you have like a bunch of players getting in trouble or something major happens, honestly, I don't think they're going to get rid of Roman Banks. And I think as Jaguar Nation, we just need to understand that, and we just need to roll with it. So from a leadership standpoint, I think they could get it done with him. But I think the rest of the sports, football, you know, starting at the top with football and then trickling down to the rest of the sports, I think they just kind of need to continue to trend in the right direction. In terms of recruitment, now a lot of bigger schools have NIL money. In fact, I'm gonna be truthful. A lot of schools in the SWAC have, you know, NIL money to work with that Southern University doesn't have. But, you know, we've seen how Coach Terrence Graves has done a good job maneuvering around that, navigating around that. He's done a good job, in my humble and honest opinion. And I'm not even gonna lie, I think you can do the same thing with the rest of the sports. So, but it's going to be imperative that they recruit good players, the best that they could recruit in football and all other sports for Southern's football program and all the Southern sports programs to be successful. And next, in terms of the facilities, you know, major shout out to C. Wells of Swag Talk. You know, he kind of talked about the facilities issue. Like A.W. Mumford Stadium, you know, that's one thing I'm going to point out. You know, I remember like a handful of years ago when Jackson State came to Southern, and, you know, they were talking about, hey, you know, the vet bigger than A.W. Mumford Stadium and whoop-de-woo. And some of the Southern University fans were like, well, hold up. The difference between the vet and A.W. Mumford Stadium is, guess what? Southern University, A.W. Mumford Stadium is for Southern University. The vet is for the city of Jackson. And, of course, Southern fans and J-State fans, I mean, it wasn't nothing over the top, but it was a little bit of a, not a heated argument, but like kind of like a mild, tame argument. And they were like, look, hey, bro, if A.W. Mumford Stadium holds 28,000 and the vet holds 50 to 60,000, whatever it is, hey, at the end of the day, guess what? That's for us. You know, the vet is for, you know, for the city of Jackson. So y'all comparing apples to oranges. Yeah, y'all might Y'all attendance might be more than ours, but hey, it is what it is, you know. So that was a, you know, a bit of an argument. But at the end of the day, I'm not gonna lie, you could kind of paint AW. I mean, I think they've done a good job adding to the end zones, but you know, I think a lot of the facilities at Southern could kind of use a little bit of an overhaul. From even if you don't completely remodel some of these facilities, I think if you just, you know, sandblast, paint, whatever the case may be, like you can touch up some of the sports facilities around Southern University's campus. Because, you know, one thing, this church that I go to, the pastor, he graduated from Grambling, and his wife went to Southern. And she was like, well, I'm gonna be honest, you know, I see how they make adding all these new buildings, these smack brand new buildings to the back of the campus, but she was like, it still leaves a lot to be desired. I'm just kind of paraphrasing what she said. Like the front of campus, like, hey, we need to do better. She was like, and first of all, I'm like, look, hey, I know your husband graduated from Grambling, but it ain't like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Maybe if you're looking at it from a holistic standpoint, yeah, some of the, you know, buildings at Grambling might be better than some of the buildings at Southern, but looking at it from a holistic standpoint, hey, I'll take Southern campus over Grambling campus. That's just my personal opinion. And I know you can have some of these buildings at the front of campus that you build, and some of these brand new buildings. But even with that being said, I still think Southern is from a facility standpoint, is better than a lot of other schools in the SWAC. But even with that being said, I still think you could kind of touch up, you know, A.W. Mumford Stadium, you know, Felton G. Clark Activity Center, and just some of the dorms, you know, in the front of the school, and some of the buildings in general. Some of these buildings are a little bit older. You know, it could use a fresh coat of paint. So I think from a facility standpoint, you're not at the top, you're not the cream of the crop, but at the same token, you're not at the bottom of the barrel. I think you're probably more smack dab in the middle. But even with that being said, I think Southern is probably closer to the top than they are at the bottom, if that kind of makes sense. In terms of the last thing I want to talk about is the role of the fans in the community in driving success. I'm not even gonna lie, I'm gonna just kind of be truthful. You know, we often talk about Southern University's glory days and how in the 90s, you know, if you came to a Southern University football game, hey, if you wasn't there by a certain time, we're just gonna say kickoff was at 7 o'clock, 6:30 p.m. on a Saturday night. If you wasn't on campus by 3 o'clock, you could forget about it. Because, like, the line of traffic to get on campus was just ridiculous. And of course, in one of my previous videos, I talked about, you know, my uncle who now lives with my mom. You know, I talked about how, you know, my dad had some extra tickets. And of course, you know, my dad, my mom, Kay, and I, we went on campus. We tailgated like we do at the time, like we did at the time for every Southern University home game. And basically, you know, I told him, like, look, I know you like to work till, you know, 3 o'clock, 3:30, whatever the case may be. You can't do that today for this upcoming game. You gotta leave work early. You gotta knock off at noon, get you something to eat, freshen up, shower up, then come straight to Southern campus. I'm telling you, if you try to leave work at 3 o'clock, I promise you, 7 o'clock is kickoff. You're not gonna make it on campus. And sure enough, just like I told him, hey, he decided he wanted to come. You know, when he got up from work at 3 o'clock, and he didn't get on campus, he ended up parking on Scenic Highway in Scotlandville, and his glass ended up being broken. So, and I'm like I said, oh, I told you, like, and he was like, yeah, you know, and he told me the story. Well, I told that story already in one of my previous videos, but the point I'm trying to make is, like, I know it might be unrealistic for Southern to get back to that point, but Southern could get back to being a gold standard in the SWAC. I mean, that's my goal for the program. I think it's feasible. I think it's realistic. And at the end of the day, truthfully speaking, you know, just looking at what was going on over there at Jackson State, just not across their entire sports program, but just from a football standpoint in general. If you want to get back to being the standard in the SWAC, the golden standard in the SWAC, it starts with football. And I think, if you were to get back to the point where you can go undefeated in the SWAC and maybe you lose one game throughout the course of the entire season, you win a Celebration Bowl, you win a Black National Championship, you might not get back to where you was in 93, 95, but I think you could get back to at least where you were in like 2002, 2003, because I remember the Parade of Champions when LSU and Southern won a national championship, Black National Championship and National Championship in the same year to respect the schools, and you had the big parade downtown Baton Rouge. Realistically, I think even if you can't get back to the where you got A.W. Mumford Stadium packed like every single Saturday night, even with that being said, I still think you could kind of elevate the standard and you can return to being a golden standard in terms of just being the cream of the crop in the SWAC and in HBCU football and the college football realm. I think that's completely feasible, and I think you could get back to that point. I mean, to me, that's not outside the realm of possibility. I know some people might be like, man, Coach, you always looking back to the glory days and this, that, and the third. And I'm not trying to compare what Southern was in 93, what Southern was in 95 to 2025. The point I'm trying to make is, even if you can't get back to that point, you want to be the best version of Southern University you can be in 2025, 2026, 2027, 2028. And I'm going to be truthful. I think Southern could get to that point, and I think that should be the goal of the overall sports program. I'm not saying it's not the goal. The point I'm trying to make is, for some people to make it seem like it's outside the realm of possibility for Southern University to even come close to getting back to what it was, to where it used to be, whatever the case may be. I mean, I don't think that's the case. I think Southern could get back to being, a dominant team in the SWAC and being a dominant team in Black college football. And at the end of the day, I think Southern University, not only can they do it, I think they will. I'm not saying it's going to happen in 2025, but I think it's going to happen sooner than people expect. I think Coach Terrence Graves has been doing a good job with the program. From the point he took over and he was the interim head coach of the 2023 Bayou Classic to this present moment, I think he's done a good job. I think he needs to be commended. And I think the coaching staff has done a good job, even though I'm going to keep it a buck. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be fully transparent. I think Mark Frederick leaves a lot to be desired as an offensive coordinator, but I think first and foremost, it starts with the football program, and I think it's going to be a trickle-down effect. And like I said earlier, I think other sports programs are starting to, at Southern University, I think they're starting to trend in the right direction. Of course, I'm going to attend probably 2 or 3 basketball games during the course of this season. And I'm not going to lie, even like I went to a basketball game last season and I posted some of the clips to this YouTube page, to my YouTube channel. And I'm not going to lie, the comment section, it was kind of empty, but a couple of people was like, man, hey, like, where are the people at? Because I'm not going to lie, I remember at one point, of course, it definitely was in the 90s. Like, I remember I was in middle school and, we won the championship football. We ended up going to Phil G. Clark Activity Center or the Mini Dome for a basketball game. And, man, it was so packed. In fact, not only that, the basketball team, the football team, we would just go, like, it would be like this one Saturday, in a basketball season where, basically the coaches would bring, football players, basketball players, and just athletes at our middle school. And I'm not gonna lie, if you wasn't there by a certain time, because the way Southern University is the same way like the junior high school our coach at is, And like most sports programs on junior high, middle school level, high school level, college level, you know, the girls play first and then the boys play after the girls. And if you weren't there by a certain time in terms of like, if you didn't arrive during the girls' game, if you just try to wait till in between the boys and the girls' game and the boys' game, or you just try to pull up during the boys' game, man, you can forget about it. You sitting at the top of the mini dome, you sitting at the top of Phil G. Clark Activity Center, and you're not gonna have a good seat. I promise you that. But for this particular game we went to, of course, now Southern University, they've done something different from I guess from a sponsorship standpoint. Like, hey, if you are a title sponsor, you know, if you pay a certain amount or whatever, or you like a season ticket holder, like there's one side of the court. For the most part, all around the mini dome, you got like a lower level that's close to the court. You got like a middle level, and you got like an upper level, like where you sitting in like the nosebleed section. Right. So we went to the game, and one side of the court, you know, of course, back in the gap, that's where you really want to be. You want to be in that lower section so you can be closer to the court. But you can only now, the way it's set up now, unless you're a title sponsor, that lower level on one side of the court is only reserved for like title sponsors and people that are like season ticket holders for basketball or whatever. Those are the only people that's allowed to sit in that section. That section is roped off. Now, if you go on the other side, then, salute to Blackwater Bayou. Major shout out to you. He said, I also think Southern will return to dominance. Go Jags. I agree 100%. But back to what I was saying, of course, you were able to go on the other side, and that lower level, you know, was available. Now, the crazy thing about it is, you know, they say they only had like a certain amount of tickets, and they didn't have like too many tickets left in that particular section, which wasn't the case because, I mean, look at all the open seats. And then, of course, you know, I'm taking clips, and you can see like, hey, certain portions of the mini dome or Phil G. Clark Activity Center is like, man, it's like damn near empty. And like, if you'd have came to a Southern game back in the 90s, we're not talking about football, we're talking about basketball game. Man, hey, that thing was packed if you wasn't there by a certain point and at a certain time. And it's crazy how it's been like a tremendous drop-off in terms of attendance, not only from a football standpoint, but from a basketball standpoint, you know. I think from a title sponsor standpoint, I think, you know, the university and the athletic program, I think they're doing a good job. But truthfully speaking, I think you want to get more warm bodies in some of these empty seats that you had, because not the last one game, like the last like few basketball games I've been to, like the attendance has been abysmal. And I'm like, man, like, you know, what happened to, I'm not even going to say, you know, the 90s, early 2000s. I'm going to say even years after that, you would have way more people at the basketball games. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know that particular day was a little bit chilly. Like the last couple games I went to was a little bit chilly. But even with that being said, it wasn't like cold the way it was earlier this week where you know, we were in danger. Like that game wasn't in danger of having it snow the way it snowed early this week. So it was no reason for those last 2 games I've been to for the mini dome to be so dry and so empty. So at the end of the day, I think, you know, just like Blackwater Bayou said, I think Southern University will return to dominance. But I think in terms of the athletic program and the sports program, first and foremost, it starts with football, and it has to trickle down the rest of the sports. Like I say, football is trending in the right direction. Other sports are trending in the right direction. I think it's only a matter of time before Southern University gets back to where they used to be and where they rightfully deserve to be, in my opinion. But that's it for this live stream. You know, if you found any value in it, please like this live stream, share it. If you have not done so already, subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell so you can be alerted anytime I do any pop-up live streams like tonight. Anytime I drop any videos, any shorts, any content in general. You know, I appreciate everybody that's been rocking with me since day one. I appreciate everybody that's just subscribed to the channel. All the new subscribers, I appreciate y'all to the highest and to the fullest. And like I said, this was something I planned on doing earlier, but I had a death in the family. But all is well. And that's one thing about me recently. I had a few family members pass recently, and more than anything, it just kind of gave me a greater appreciation for life. And not only that, but a greater appreciation for everybody that's been rocking with me, in terms of both the YouTube channel and just life in general. So that's why, I go out of my way to kind of, give a major props and major shout out to everybody in Jaguar Nation that's supporting the channel, everybody in the LDBC that's rocking with me, supporting me, and everybody, just in general. And major shout out to Louisiana All American Sports Network. But before I wrap up this live stream, major shout out to Autism Boy, Autism Boy Cottage 81. I appreciate you dropping through, showing some love. Salute to Autism Boy, and salute to Blackwater Bayou. He's one of the major individuals that constantly support the channel, constantly show a lot of love. Christopher Deuce was up, was good with you. He said the SWAC is in a much better place when Jackson State is on top. Honestly, I feel the SWAC is a much better place when Southern is on top. Nah, if Southern on top and Jackson State neck and neck with them, yeah, I think that's a great look. Realistically, I kind of say this in one of my previous videos. I think when you look at the Blue Bloods of the SWAC, of course, many teams they run in terms of winning SWAC championships, winning Commissioner's Cup, whatever the case may be. But I think when I think about the Blue Bloods of SWAC, I think of Southern, Jackson State, Grambling, Alcorn State, Prairie View at times. So those are like the Blue Bloods of the SWAC, in my opinion. But you think SWAC in a better place when Jackson State on top. I think the SWAC is at its absolute best when Southern on top. As long as they got Jackson State to be across from them to be the team that Southern defeats, I think that's when Southern is at its absolute best. But maybe shout out to you, Christopher Dukes. I appreciate everybody. I appreciate Christopher Dukes. Appreciate Blackwater Bayou. I appreciate Autism Boy Cottage 81. I appreciate everybody that's been rocking with me, supporting me. In my next couple of videos, I have 2 videos coming up pretty soon. Not pretty soon. I got 2 videos coming up tomorrow. One video for my LDBC family members. I'm going to talk about this boxing topic. I'm going to talk about Terrence Bud Crawford and Saul Canelo Alvarez is official. It's final. I'm going to talk about that. And in addition to that, I'm going to also talk about does Southern need a leadership change to get where they need to be from an athletic standpoint. So those are my next 2 videos. Also, go check out my brother Jared 11 Green on his channel. Tomorrow, 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, the Southern Baller Show. We probably going to do a drive-by episode talking about the national championship game early this week. And also, we're going to talk about championship game tomorrow in terms of the AFC and the NFC championship game. Also, go check out my brother Brent Fox on his channel with his show It's Just Me starring Brent Fox. And lastly, go check out my brother 7A Sports TV. He has 2 channels. His primary channel is 7A Sports TV. His backup channel is the No 304 Show. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, him and the brother Blu-ray Fitness, they're going to do a live stream at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time tomorrow. So go check out my brother 7A Sports TV. Again, shout out to Jaguar Nation. Shout out to all of the SWAC family that be dropping through, showing love and support. Shout out to the LDBC. Shout out to Louisiana All American Sports Network. And shout out to each of you that's been rocking with me, all my new subscribers, all my day ones, everybody that's just been supporting the channel. Once more again, Autism Boy Cottage 81. I appreciate you to the fullest. Blackwater Bayou, appreciate you. Christopher Dukes, appreciate you dropping in. Appreciate all of y'all. Y'all have a blessed, phenomenal evening. I'll catch y'all on the rebound. Peace and blessings to everyone. and go Jags.